Hey everyone, my name is Elsha94 and welcome to something a little bit different. As you've seen in a previous series of mine, we played a game called Fightbox, a game where we construct a warrior, put it through its paces with various different challenges and see if we can come out on top as a sentient. This kind of follows that similar kind of scenario. This is Bamzooki, which if you grew up a CBBC kid in the 2000s, you will know what this is. Effectively, we are going to be able to construct some form of new creature and put it through its paces with laps, with hurdles, with a whole host of different other things. So why don't we get straight into this and construct our first Zook, which is the name of the creatures that they give. So let's call this Zook Zippy. Let's make a relatively quick Zook. So you can see here, this is what we get to build with, just a singular blob that we can form into a Zook. So to run over a little bit about how this works, this is our main body, which we can change the shape of, we can apply the motion controls to, and we can put colors onto. Now some of these might seem a little bit familiar, such as this one, for example. This kind of looks like it was taken from Fightbox to a certain extent, but we're going to run with it. What we can then do is apply different components onto this Zook to make it work. So why don't we just back a sec? Why don't we change the shape of our Zook to our needs? What we're going to do, if we're going to make this Zook quite a fast Zook, I think it should be a little bit longer, maybe a little bit wider, low center of gravity, and I think we're going to just square it off just a little bit. Well, I say that's quite a lot, isn't it? Let's do that. We'll flatten aside so it's given it a nice little profile there. And I think we'll make this just a little bit lower, like so. Yeah, and let's make it less rounded. That's perfect. Okay, we're going to run with this. So now that we have the body kind of there or thereabouts, we can now start adding in these extra components. We're going to put in a crawl, but you can see that we have like a back and forth, we have flippers, we have paddles which we can use, and we have stalks and other bits and pieces like that. So to begin with, while we get used to the controls of this, let's focus on this crawl ability. We're going to place it onto our Zook, and what we can now do is we can mirror, copy, and then put another one on. We can mirror, copy, and we're going to put on about 8 legs in total. So we're going to mirror that, lovely, and we can mirror this. So what we should now be able to do, granted it looks horrid at the moment, but if we go to test, you can see that the legs are actually moving on its own, but our body's a little bit too thin. Let's make it a little bit thicker, retest, but it's still a little bit, to be fair though, you can see that we've built the legs a little bit too high up, so why don't we just adjust that. So we're going to move this down. So I think, there you go. So we kind of want it roughly there for all of them. There'll be some element of fine tuning, but that's all going to be okay. So now hopefully, you can see now that our Zook is now moving forward, but it's not, it's a bit janky, isn't it? Let's be honest, it is a little bit janky. So what we're going to now do is change the motions. So let's do this at 25, this one at 50, this one at 75, and this at 100. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side as well. So the hope is that by doing this, we should get like a nice kind of smooth action with all of the legs working as one. Let's do about that. Cool. And I think you can do something similar with the feet. We're going to leave it as it is for now, just to see how it goes. Yeah. So it's a little bit worse, I think, but I think when we put in the things for the feet, I think that's what's going to solve this issue. So let's put these in at, that's going to be 75. You can also change like how much the feet rotate around, which is also pretty sick. There's a lot of control that you can do with this to get your Zook performing at its absolute best. We're actually building, I think, the first Zook in probably more than 10 years, I'm going to say. Because Bamzooki has been off British TV since about 2009. They did another series of it. I think the first couple were 2004 to 2006. And then they ran one again at 2009. Which finished at about 2010, I think. So yeah, probably it is over 10 years. So it's had a few different guises. But yeah, this will probably be the first thing that we actually build in a very long time. You can see now that we are getting a much nicer motion now with our Zook. This is actually what we want. We want this Zook to kind of plow ahead to get, you know, a nice clean result. So I think what we probably now want to do, why don't we make these a little bit more pointy, and let's have it a little bit, in fact, let's just make it a bit pointy. So this is going to look a little bit like Spider, which is an example Zook that we have in our library, but it's just to, you know, test the concept. If this is something that ultimately you guys want to see more of, then I'm going to start doing some challenges with this. So make the fastest Zook, make the strongest Zook. So yeah, as you can see now, we're getting a lot better movement with this. And that's without even changing the motion or the cycle speeds of this, because this might actually help us out even more. What we're then going to do is, let's bring this down. We want this to be a bit more kind of in line, and we want the actual feet to be a bit more pointed, so we should get a bit more purchase. Okay, yeah, not quite. What if we make it less pointy then? Less pointy. I think we might have to make the Zook a little bit longer as well, for what we want to do. Try again. Okay, maybe it's because they're a little bit too... It's either going to be because they're too up or down, or because we haven't got the timings quite right. Let's do that. Okay, try again. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Look at that. That is incredible. All right. So just for a basic use case, let's just keep it as it is for now. We're just going to put it through some paces. I think what we'll also do is we'll just color it. So why don't we have... let's do it all one color up until we have the... in fact, no, that's slightly different, isn't it? That needs to be that color. That's it. We want this to be this color, like so. And then on the bottom, let's do stars. Let's make it a little bit cool. There you go. Okay. So we've got stars on for the feet. That all seems pretty ace. And we've got a working Zook now as well. So we can now do, in fact, I'm going to let's make the cycle speed a lot more than that. Let's also do, let's increase the turn sharpness and the turn smoothness. So what this is going to do now is, oh yes, very fast Zook. You love to see that. So what we can now do is we can move this red dot and we can see how quick does it actually turn. So you can see that the Zook now is actually responding as well to where we click, which is also pretty incredible. Okay, so we have our Zook. So what's next? Well, we can now put this Zook through a various amount of simulation. So to begin with, we can do a lap. Let's see how fast it is around the Bamzooki test track. It's actually, I think, it seems that the bottom feet aren't actually being utilized, but it's still going round relatively quickly, which is pretty incredible. So I don't know actually if it's worth having these feet on at all, or if they're just subject to requirement. But you can see now that our Zook Zippy is coming across the line in 24.3 seconds. So why don't we give this a save and let's find out how fast our closest competitor is. So to do that, let's open up Spider. So Spider is among the example Zooks, along with Ant, Leapser, Scrabber, Twigger, and Worm Thing. Let's bring out Spider. This is basically what we've modded it off, sort of, to an extent. We're going to put it through a lap as well. So we were about, what, 23, 24 seconds? So you can see actually that, to a certain extent, Spider's a lot more efficient with how it's set up. And that might be something that we need to be mindful of. Yeah, wow, 18.1. So we've actually got a lot of work to do there with that. And you can see as well, as we go for the sprint. Yeah, look at it go, man. Look at it go. 56.4 centimeters. We have a little bit of work to do, a little bit more fine-tuning to do on our Zook. So we go back to our Zooks. Let's try and imitate slightly what Spider is doing. So why don't we set... We'll do one and that. So that's one, that's one, that's one, that's one. And then why don't we do this at, say... Oh, we could do 75 actually for both of these. That would work. Yeah, let's do that. 75. 75, and then that's 75, that's 75, that's one, that's one, that's one, that's 75, that's one. Okay, so we just need to, I think, replicate this now on all of these other bits. So that's one, that's one. This will be 75 along with that. This will now be one, as will that, and then that's 75, 75. These need to be increased to 75 as well, and so does that. Okay, give it a test. Okay, sure, let's run with that. Okay, let's give that a quick save. And now what we're going to do, let's put it through a couple of paces in actual simulation-based games. Okay, so what you can now see are the available contests that we can now put Zippy through against our example Zooks. So we've got Dodgy Zook, which you can see they kind of have like a moving barrier that kind of goes from side to side. We've got Merry-Go Zook, which basically is this turntable basically spins around. So it's sort of like Revolution from Fightbox. We have Weakest Zook, where basically it's just basically pushing power. We have Zook Hurdles, where there's like a varying amount of different ramps and things for the Zooks to navigate over. We have Marbles for Zooks to go straight through, kind of like a sprint almost. We then have Zook Smash, where they have to get through a bunch of different obstacles. Zook Sumo, which is basically a one-on-one contest. And then we have basically Football. So why don't we put our Zook through some of these contests and see how it gets on. We're going to put Zippy then up against... let's do Spider first to see what the difference really truly is between these two Zooks. Let's give it a quick go and let's find out how they get on. We can see here we have a bunch of different views and away we go. And as you can see straight away there, Zippy's actually taken the lead from Spider, but because Spider is such a more quick Zook, but Spider is, I think, somehow back in the contest. I don't know how that works. You can see there that Zippy is making much better use of its legs there. And I think, hopefully, no, it's crossed over. And this opens up the doors now for Spider to come straight through. Oh, you hate to see it. But Spider is going to take the win. And that is disappointing there from Zippy. Okay, so, you know, we didn't... I mean, it's basically 1-0 to Spider at this point. But maybe we'll have a better go at Merry-Go Zook. There you go. You can see the two champions there. The two Zooks going to war. And already that is a flaw in the design of Zippy. I guess, though, it'll be which Zook stays on. But you can see that Spider's really making good use there, staying in the center. And there goes Zippy. It's 2-0 to Spider. Is there any contest that we're actually going to win today? I don't know. Okay, are we at least stronger than Spider? Are we stronger than Spider? Let's find out. It's not good, is it? It's not good. This is going to be a 3-0 to Spider. 3-0. But it wasn't really built to be strong. It was just built to try and be fast. But yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It's all over. Weakest Zook. Victory goes to Spider. Imitation clearly is not working for us. But let's try Zook hurdles next. Let's at least see, do we at least get to win one contest? If we can win one contest, we've at least done somewhat of our job. Let's begin though. And Zippy's, those legs are going to be a massive issue for us. Spider's just walking away with it. Absolutely, I mean literally walking away with it. It's just so good. Okay, so maybe then we need to work on how the legs actually operate between the two. I don't even want to know if, let's try Zook Smash. Do we at least, can we get one win? Out of all of the games, can we get one win? I'm not convinced. What happened there? So Spider is off the table. Zippy is upside down yet again. And this contest is basically a no contest. I wonder if we can redo that. Maybe we'll do marbles first. Maybe that's what we're telling us to do. Let's do marbles first and we'll move on afterwards. And we are off. There's a bit of a one where you can see, I mean, you can just see just how useful. I mean, Spider's just going straight underneath all those marbles. We're having some real difficulties with this Zook. But as it's our first episode, we'll give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. Yep, so Spider, another win there. It's literally, it has basically outclassed us completely. And I'm pretty sure it's going to outclass us again on this. Oh, yeah, I would say that's a victory to Spider as well. Okay. Do we at least get a goal at football? Can we get a goal at football? I'm probably going to say no to this one as well. Zippy approaching the ball. It's kicked. Is it going to go in the back of the net? No, Spider's absolutely saved it. And it's not been a good showing for our first ever Zook. But do you know what? To be able to replay this old kit from years ago is actually really, really cool. So I think I'm going to end the episode at this stage here. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see more of Bamzooki on the channel. We did bring back Fightbox, so we could bring back Bamzooki as well. But let me know down below if you want to see more of this. But until then, I'm going to end this episode right about here. Thanks to all of you who have watched this. If you like what you saw, make sure to hit the like button down below. Don't forget you can of course subscribe for more content just like this. And I will see you next time.